In a small town filled with whispers and secrets, there lived a single mother named Sarah. She was known for her unwavering spirit and resilience, raising her son, Timmy, on her own after a painful divorce. Life had not been easy for Sarah. She worked 2 jobs to make ends meet while nurturing her son's dreams of becoming a professional soccer player. Timmy was Sarah's world, and she would do anything for him, even if it meant sacrificing her own dreams. One sunny day, while Timmy was at school, Sarah received a call that would change their lives forever. She had been summoned to court regarding a custody dispute with her ex-husband Mark. Mark had been absent for most of Timmy's life and suddenly wanted to claim a share of custody, citing Sarah's financial struggles as a reason for concern. The news hit Sarah like a bolt of lightning. Panic surged through her veins, and she felt an overwhelming wave of fear. She knew she needed a lawyer, someone who could fight for her rights and for Timmy's future. After searching online and making a few calls, Sarah found a renowned lawyer named David Cole. He was known for his sharp mind and a reputation for winning tough cases. However, as Sarah sat nervously in his office, she sensed a coldness in the air. David regarded her with a raised eyebrow, barely hiding his disdain as he glanced over her financial statements. "I'm sorry, but I don't think I can take your case," he said, his tone clipped. "You don't have a strong enough position. A judge might lean towards your ex-husband due to your financial situation." Those words felt like daggers piercing Sarah's heart. She tried to explain that her struggles didn't define her parenting skills, but David was resolute. He refused to see beyond the numbers, dismissing her as just another case. Feeling defeated, Sarah left his office, tears streaming down her cheeks. She could not give up. She needed to fight for Timmy. Days turned into weeks, and as the court date approached, Sarah felt the weight of the world on her shoulders. She attended parenting classes, worked overtime, and even reached out to friends for advice. But with each passing day, she felt more alone. Mark's threats loomed over her, and the thought of losing Timmy was unbearable. On the day of the hearing, Sarah arrived at the courthouse with a heavy heart. The hall was filled with people, each dealing with their own battles. As she waited, her mind raced with worries. Would the judge listen to her? Would she be able to show that she was a good mother despite her circumstances? When her case was finally called, Sarah stood up, her knees shaking. She walked into the courtroom, feeling small and vulnerable. David was there, representing Mark. He stood tall, his confidence radiating as he presented his case against her. Sarah's heart sank as she listened to his arguments, each one more cutting than the last. He painted a picture of a mother who could not provide for her child, someone unfit to raise a boy with ambitions. But then, just as Sarah was about to lose hope, something unexpected happened. An elderly woman who had been sitting quietly in the back of the room rose to her feet. With a tremor in her voice, she asked to speak. "Your Honor, may I?" the woman said, her eyes filled with compassion. The judge nodded, and the woman stepped forward. "I know Sarah. I've watched her with her son. I've seen her struggles, yes, but I've also seen her love. She works harder than anyone I know. Timmy is happy, healthy, and well cared for." David looked taken aback, his confident facade cracking for a moment. The elderly woman continued, sharing stories of Sarah's dedication, her involvement in the community, and how she always put Timmy first. The courtroom fell silent, and for the first time, Sarah felt a flicker of hope. As the woman finished speaking, the judge looked at Sarah. "Do you have any witnesses to support your case?" he asked. Sarah's heart raced. She hadn't prepared for this. But then she remembered her friends, the people whose lives she had touched in her own small ways. She took a deep breath and nodded. After the elderly woman stepped down, Sarah called her friend Lisa to the stand. Lisa spoke passionately about Sarah's character, detailing how she balanced her work and motherhood like a true warrior. The judge listened intently, and for the first time David seemed uneasy. As Sarah continued to present her case, she could see the tide shifting. With each witness, she painted a picture of a mother who loved fiercely and fought tirelessly for her son. The judge began to ask questions, probing deeper into Sarah's life, her work, her hopes for Timmy. Each answer strengthened her resolve and showed her determination. As the hearing progressed, David's demeanor changed. He tried to regain control, but the evidence was mounting against him. The judge, clearly moved by Sarah's story and the testimonies, began to show doubt in Mark's claims. The courtroom was filled with tension, and Sarah's heart raced as she felt the balance tip in her favor. But just when Sarah thought she was gaining ground, David pulled out a shocking piece of evidence. He presented a document that indicated Sarah had missed a few child support payments in the past. "This shows a lack of responsibility," he argued, his voice booming through the courtroom. The statement hit Sarah hard, and doubt crept back in. She felt the weight of that mistake pressing down on her. But before she could break, she remembered Timmy's face, his laughter, and the love they shared. She realized that one mistake didn't define her worth as a mother. With renewed strength, Sarah stood up. "Your Honor," she said, her voice steady, "I acknowledge my past mistakes, but I have learned from them. Every day, I strive to be a better mother for my son. I have fought through hardships, and I will continue to fight. Timmy deserves a stable, loving home, and I can provide that for him." The courtroom fell silent. The judge looked contemplative, and Sarah could feel the tension in the air. David, visibly frustrated, tried to counter her words, but the judge interrupted him. "Enough," the judge said firmly. "I have heard enough." The judge took a moment to reflect, his gaze shifting between Sarah and David. It is clear that Sarah loves her son and is dedicated to providing for him despite her challenges. I will not undermine that love. Sarah's heart raced as the judge delivered his verdict. He ruled in her favor, granting her primary custody of Timmy. The room erupted in murmurs, but Sarah felt as if the world had been lifted from her shoulders. Tears of relief streamed down her face as she turned to see Timmy, who had been waiting outside the courtroom, his innocent eyes wide with hope. As they embraced, Sarah whispered, "We did it, Timmy." In that moment, she knew that all her struggles had been worth it. They had won the battle, but the war was far from over. After the hearing, Sarah felt a sense of empowerment. She had faced her fears and emerged victorious. However, she also felt a sense of gratitude towards David. Despite his initial dismissal, he had unknowingly pushed her to fight harder for her son. Days turned into weeks, and as life settled down, Sarah found herself reflecting on her journey. She still worked tirelessly, but now she had a renewed sense of purpose. She became active in the community, helping other single mothers who faced similar struggles. Sarah organized support groups and shared her story, offering hope to those who felt lost. One day, while volunteering at a local shelter, Sarah unexpectedly bumped into David again. He seemed different this time, less aloof and more approachable. He recognized her and offered a genuine smile. "I heard about your victory. You fought hard, and you deserve it." Surprised by his sincerity, Sarah felt a wave of warmth. "Thank you. I appreciate that," she replied. "It was a tough battle, but it taught me so much about strength and resilience." David nodded, his expression softening. "I misjudged you. I'm glad I was wrong. You're a great mother." In that moment, the tension that had once existed between them dissipated. They talked about their lives, ambitions, and the challenges of parenting. Sarah realized that David was not just a lawyer. He was a human being with his own struggles. As their conversation continued, they discovered they both shared a passion for helping others. David expressed an interest in pro bono work, and Sarah offered to connect him with local families in need of legal assistance. They began to collaborate, creating a support network for single parents in the community. Over time, Sarah and David formed an unexpected friendship. They worked together, sharing ideas and resources to help those who felt lost. Sarah admired David's commitment to his work, and David came to respect Sarah's strength and determination. Their partnership blossomed, and they became advocates for change. As they navigated the challenges of life, Sarah found herself feeling lighter. She had found a friend in David, someone who understood her struggles and celebrated her victories. Their bond deepened as they shared laughter, stories, and dreams for the future. Months passed, and one day, as they were wrapping up a community event, Sarah and David stood outside, watching the sun set over the horizon. The vibrant colors painted the sky, symbolizing hope and new beginnings. Sarah looked up at David, her eyes shimmering with emotion. The weight of everything they had been through, every challenge, every sleepless night, every moment of doubt, made this moment even more meaningful. She took a deep breath, her voice soft but full of sincerity. "Thank you for being a part of this journey with me," she said, her words carrying the depth of her gratitude. "I never imagined I would find someone who understands my struggles, someone who shares my passion for helping others." David's smile was warm, his expression filled with admiration. "And I never imagined that a chance meeting in court would lead to something so life-changing." He paused, his gaze never leaving hers. "You've taught me so much, Sarah. About resilience, about love, about what it really means to fight for what matters." She felt her throat tighten with emotion. For so long, she had carried her burdens alone, believing that was the only way. But now, standing beside David, she realized she didn't have to anymore. There was someone who saw her, who understood her, who was willing to stand by her side, not just in the courtroom, but in life. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves around them, carrying with it the promise of new beginnings. Sarah reached for David's hand, her fingers curling around his. "I used to think I had to do everything on my own," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "But now, I know I don't have to." David gave her hand a reassuring squeeze. "No, you don't," he said firmly. "We're in this together." And as they stood there, in the quiet of the evening, Sarah knew this was just the beginning of something beautiful. As they stood there, a comfortable silence enveloped them. In that moment, they both realized that their connection had grown beyond friendship. It was a bond forged through shared experiences, mutual respect, and a deep understanding of each other's hearts. Sarah looked at David, her heart pounding so hard she was sure he could hear it. The moment felt fragile, like the stillness before a storm, and she hesitated, searching for the right words. "Do you think we could?" Her voice trailed off, uncertainty flickering in her eyes. She wasn't used to letting her guard down, not after everything she had been through. David took a small step closer, his presence steady and grounding. The warmth in his gaze made her breath hitch. But it also reassured her. "I think we could," he murmured, his voice gentle yet sure. His eyes held something unspoken, something deep, something Sarah hadn't dared to hope for. "I've come to care about you, Sarah, more than I expected." The weight of his words settled over her, and for a moment she couldn't move. A wave of emotions crashed into her, relief, happiness, something close to disbelief. She had spent so long fighting, standing strong for her son, never thinking about her own heart, and yet, here she was, realizing she wasn't alone anymore. A soft smile broke across her lips, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. She had fought for her son, had given every piece of herself to protect him, and in doing so, she had found something unexpected. A partner who believed in her, who saw her strength and still wanted to stand beside her. Their journey had been filled with struggles, heartbreak, and moments of uncertainty. But somehow it had also led them here, together. And for the first time in a long time, Sarah felt a quiet, steady hope bloom in her chest. Maybe, just maybe, the hardest part was behind her. As they stepped away from the courthouse, the cool evening air wrapped around them like a comforting embrace. The sun had just dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in breathtaking shades of orange and deep purple. A gentle breeze carried the faint scent of blooming flowers from a nearby park, mingling with the distant hum of the city. Sarah let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding, feeling the weight of the past finally lifting off her shoulders. She glanced at him beside her, their fingers naturally intertwining as if they had always belonged together. There was no need for words, just a shared look, filled with understanding, love, and the quiet promise of a new beginning. Their journey had been anything but easy. The struggles they had faced, the doubts, the pain, it had all shaped them into the people they were now. Stronger, wiser, more connected than ever. And in that moment, with the vast sky opening up above them, Sarah knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. Life had a way of throwing the unexpected at them. But for the first time in a long time, they weren't afraid. They welcomed whatever the future had in store, knowing that every twist and turn would only strengthen their bond. With hearts full of hope, they walked forward, ready to embrace the unknown. Together. If you enjoyed this story and want to see more heartwarming and inspiring content, don't forget to like this video. Your support means the world to us. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss another powerful story. And if this story touched your heart, leave a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Lastly, share this video with your friends and family so more people can experience the message behind it. Together, we can spread positivity and inspiration.